Well, first off, I'm really sorry that you feel hopeless. It sucks to feel that however hard you try, it will never come good. It will never be right. And things can change very, very quickly. How not to feel hopeless? So what we're going to discuss is information filtering, our awareness, our control, how we shift perspective, and then how we practically tie that all together and start feeling better about things and learn how not to become hopeless. So first off, we have selective perception and information filtering. So we have to recognize that we often see only the information we actively look for, leading to a selective perception. So there's a certain story in our head and we look for the information that basically builds that story. Missing out on other information can build up different stories in our minds. So missing out on that other information means that we have a skewed perspective of how the world works. So I think it was Daniel Kahneman, a world-renowned psychologist, who came up with the idea, or did the research, I should say, that we take in so many bits of information from the world around us. We take in 11 million bits of information. And out of those 11 million bits of information, we take notice of 40 to 50. That's 40 to 50 out of 11 million. So recognizing that we only pay attention to a very small part of the information coming into us that reality is giving us has a part to play in this story. So there's no one else is really responsible for that situation. It's our awareness now that really runs this thing forward. So understanding that feelings of hopelessness can stem from focusing on things that we can't control. Understanding that feelings of hopelessness can stem from focusing on things that we can't control. So take responsibility for our focus and be aware of how we interpret the world around us. That's a tough one, isn't it? You're being asked to see the error in our ways, to see that part of this is down to us. Because what we like to do is we like to think, nothing is fair, and we like to absolve ourselves of responsibility. But really, there are a plethora of stories. There's a ton of stories. There's a load of stories opening up in front of us. And there's only certain stories that we are able to see because we're not aware that we have a choice over what we see. And so what we do is we pick that story that makes us feel better or gives us reason to avoid feeling bad about ourselves. So in avoidance of trying to feel bad about ourselves, we pick a story. It doesn't really necessarily serve us. It's just instinct. And that story then becomes our reality. The more we look into that story, the more we look for that story, the more that becomes reality. And the harder it is to see any other story that's being presented to us by reality, by those 11 million bits of information. And the 40 to 50, we have to pick very carefully what those 40 to 50 bits are, because they could be anything. We can't just leave it up to our subconscious to pick that stuff, can we? We have to be aware and let our conscious mind pick the stuff that is actually going to serve us the best. So that's a self-responsibility. That's the awareness that you have and the self-responsibility that you need. So that brings us to control. We can only control what we can control. We think quite often that we can control the external world. We can control other people's actions. We can control a whole bunch of things that we can't control. Because in reality, we can only control this. We can control what we think. We can control what we think without touching my mic. And we can control what we say. And we can control what we do. If we believe that we can control beyond that, we are always going to be left disappointed and frustrated and feeling like somehow the world and reality has something against us, which will lead us to thoughts of hopelessness. So stop trying to control external factors that are beyond our reach and focus on controlling reactions and mindset, what you do and what you think. So what we need to do is shift our perspective, actively look for information and perspectives that counteract the feeling of hopelessness. So actively looking for those perspectives that counteract the feeling of hopelessness. So number one, we have to go, oh man, I'm feeling hopeless. That's probably why you're watching this video. Things feel hopeless. I need to resolve this in some way. And then instead of seeking out from that 11 million bits of information, the bits that build the story of hopelessness, we need to actively seek out the positive or neutral information to balance our viewpoint and improve our mental state. First steps to overcoming hopelessness: identify where you have control and start from there. Recognize that changing your focus and perspective is a crucial first step towards feeling better. Additional points are that mindfulness, reflection, breathing, being aware of your thoughts, keeping those emotional responses in check. We do that through stepping back from those reactions that we have minute by minute. We take a few deep breaths. We become aware that we are feeling physical feelings, having particular thoughts. Part of that awareness should be that some of that has been fueled by what we're paying attention to. And that regular self-reflection can help you understand the patterns that contribute to hopelessness. And then what we can do is, if we really are struggling, we will need to seek out some kind of help or resource in the real world beyond ourselves to help us double down on all of those aspects that will help resolve how not to feel hopeless. We don't want to feel hopeless anymore. This is the plan. This is the protocol to not feeling hopeless anymore. Anyway, that was fun. See you later. Bye.